What does it take to be an effective leader? In this Maxpoint Leaders segment, Dr. Frank Banfill explores the leadership research done over the last 75 years and unveils the key components that make leaders effective.
Hi, Dr. Frank Banfill here, talking to you today about effective leaders. What does it mean to be an effective leader? How do you become an effective leader? Well, if you try to read a book on leadership, where do you even start? I mean, Amazon has hundreds of thousands of titles just dealing with leadership. Well, one of the most effective ways to understand what it means to be effective is to look at the research. And there's a lot of research that's been done over the past 75 years in the subject of leadership. And if you boil down that leadership, all that research on leadership over the last 75 years, you can kind of put effective leadership down into what I would call effective leader points. And basically, effective leader points fall into two broad categories. We know through the research that effective leaders are certain things and they do certain things. So, and I love this because the research is telling us what the Bible actually told many, many years ago. Psalm 78:72 says, speaking about David, leader of Israel, it said, "And David shepherded them with integrity of heart, with skillful hands he led them." In other words, David was certain things, he had certain things inside of him, and he did certain things. He led with skillful hands. So when you boil this down, there are six then subcategories that these fit into, and then a number of points after that. So what are they? Well, first of all, the leader is certain things. One of the things we know about leadership is personality. In fact, when leadership first began to be a discipline that was studied, researchers focused almost exclusively on the subject of personality. So they would find somebody that was an effective leader and they said, oh, what are the personality traits that that leader has? So the assumption was that if they're a successful leader and they have a certain personality, then all you have to do is just imitate that personality. Well, we've learned over the years that leadership is far more complex and involves a lot more components than just personality. But personality is very critical. So we know that personality is a key part, and how you operate within your personality is a key part in being an effective leader. Another area that we've seen from the research over all these years is intelligence. Now, I'm not talking about just intellect, that's a part of it, but there are a lot of other intelligence as well. For example, there's social intelligence, there's emotional intelligence, there's cultural intelligence, there's spiritual, moral intelligence. All of these things are part of what makes up that intelligence package, if you would, of what we're about as a leader. And how we use and understand those intelligences have a lot to do with how we live out as a leader and the way that we lead. The third area is the area of values and beliefs. What we value, what we believe, impacts our leadership. And we know that certain values and the way we approach certain things as leader, we've demonstrated empirically that it impacts our ability to be effective or ineffective. So if you look at all of these things, you look at personality, you look at intelligence, you look at values and beliefs, those things very much shape our leadership style. The way you are from your personality, your intelligence, the values and beliefs, those things will move you in a certain way, and they will form a certain style of leadership that you will tend to want to follow. And that could be a good style or it could be a bad style depending on each of these different areas of your life. So there may be some things that need to be worked on if you see that the leadership style is not the most effective. So we are certain things: personality, intelligence, values, and beliefs. Who we are moves us in certain ways. It creates our leadership style. And then out of that style, we do certain things, right? And so the research has told us over all these years that leaders address tasks. Leaders do certain things. They have certain tasks that leaders do. What are those tasks? Well, effective leaders clarify tasks. They do things and try to bring understanding to what's happening. They don't just jump into something, but they try to clarify it. They monitor. One of the tasks that leaders do is they monitor what's happening both inside and outside their organizations. And then they also do short-term planning. So those are all tasks that effective leaders do. Effective leaders are very much about relations. And so relations includes developing, supporting, consulting, recognizing, and empowering your followers. And then finally, leadership is all about change. Leadership is about transformation. It's about bringing people from one point to another. It's about bringing organizations from one point to another point. And that always involves change. So effective leaders bring about change. They do that through visioning. They do that through intellectual stimulation. They do that through risk-taking. And they do that by external monitoring, seeing not just what's happening inside the organization, but really monitoring what's happening around the organization and then making those adjustments. So 70 plus years of great research on leadership really boils down to these key points. And we'll explore those more in some other videos. But right now, just know that you can be an effective leader as you focus on these different areas and as you better understand your leadership style and adapt that leadership style to your particular situation, your particular followers, and develop a leadership style that's been proven to be effective. You too can be an outstanding, effective leader. I'm Dr. Frank Banfill. Thanks for listening.